Welcome to the Canadian Scrapbooker Technique Tasters. My name is Jackie. Today we are going to be looking at a Heartfelt Creations tool. It's a flower shaper, and Kim is here on the show today to show us how she created these two cards using a bunch of different tools. Kim, what did you use for the base of the card to get started?
For the base of the card, I like to use Coordinations Cardstock.
Okay.
It's a nice texture to it.
Right,
and
it's
if
very
you're
textury.
Wanting to grunge it up, it's easy to do.
You can rip it and the inside has a different color?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what
you used for around here?
Yes.
And then the pattern paper that you chose?
The pattern paper is a Simple Stories. Pretty basic
like
paper from this one here. It's like barn board. It's their Simple Vibes.
Right, works
paper.
with anything.
Works, easy.
Because these are like a generic card that you could give for any reason, really. You could give it to me after the show.
I could. If you were good to me, I could.
She doesn't know yet. And then the stamped images.
So the stamped images, basically I have one pre-stamped here, and they're using the Heartfelt Delightful Daisies and the Everyday Hero newsprint. And I just kind of layered it up to add some more texture onto those pages, or onto the card.
And this Heartfelt Creations stamp, it's kind of interesting because it's all one piece. It's not broken apart.
And that's because there is a die that works with it. And so instead of cutting one out at a time, you can do a whole bunch, and then you can work with.
So long to the fussy cutting. Because when I look at this and think that I have to cut this out, I get scared.
It's a little intimidating.
I get scared. But I look at that, I kind of get scared too, but I'll let you show me how you do that nice and easy.
Yeah, so on these cards here, this one here I had the leaf and the flower, and I just layer it with some washi tape. So, you know, you stamp your image, which is pretty straightforward. I've used ColorBox chalk ink. Layer your die over top of it. I like to use some washi tape to hold it in place, and that way it's not going to...
And washi tape is so pretty anyway.
It's fun. It's fun to have.
It's pretty. It's kind of
all over the house.
The upbeat of plain old Scotch tape.
It is.
It's kind of nice.
And so then basically I run this through the Sizzix Big Shot.
I'll get this ready for you, Kim.
I like to use their magnetic plate.
Okay.
Because the dies are magnetic and it just sets into place.
And it won't move.
It won't move. Layer it. I like to use the little shim plate as well.
Oh, a shimmy plate. I haven't seen that before. And is that just a little extra?
Just a little extra. Sometimes you need a little bit more.
In we go.
Depending on the paper thickness, I find that little shim plate
just makes the bit of difference?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
And then you just pop it out.
It just comes out. I like the sound.
I do too. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's a nice sound.
You don't have to take the washi tape off. You can just kind of leave that all on if you want.
Well, and then the beauty of this is actually I am going to take this off even if I rip it because I like what's left behind.
You could use this as
a
stencil
mask or a stencil
or
very nice. Cool.
And so then the fun part of this card
is the
Heartfelt Shaping Kit.
Right. So you want to mold those flowers to make them look
dimensional.
More real. Or dimensional.
So they call it a flower shaper, and here we're going to use it on flowers, but I like using it on leaves and anything that you want to add
some poof
to it. Okay. The kit is pretty self-contained. It opens up nicely. Everything stores in here. It's got a little stylus, and it's got lots of different tips that you can use with it.
That's a lot of molding.
It's a lot of molding.
There's a lot of molding going on in this kit.
The smart thing is your stylus has two ends, so if you're working with two tips.
And do they just pull out easy too?
There's like a little magnet in there, so they work wonderful.
And do you work in the?
You can work however you want, and depending on the paper that you use, sometimes you can spritz it with some water just to soften the fiber of the paper.
And you know what? I heard about this, so then when it dries, it actually holds it.
It holds that shape.
That little bit of wetness, and then when you mold, and then it holds it a little bit better.
Yes.
It's kind of like clay in a weird way.
A little bit. It's almost like a glue once it dries. Okay. Basically, whichever way you want the shape to pop out, you do the reverse. This way, or
a valley or a hill.
Right. So if I want the center of my flower to pop inwards, I'm going to come in
and push that way.
And push that way. And for the flowers, I like to use a big one for the center.
Right.
And then if I want to add some dimension to the leaves, I can pop it over. Or I guess they're not leaves, that's not the technical. I'm a scrapbooker, not
The
a
petals.
botanicist.
I totally missed that. I would have been completely satisfied with you calling it a leaf.
And so then I just going in here and
you could actually just see it popping up all by itself.
Right, and you can push, you can roll, you can come in here to add a little bit more. And then you're just doing that, and it looks kind of funny now, but when it dries,
well, for sure, then
dries in place.
You can see here how it's just flipped up. I actually thought that you used a 3D dimensional adhesive, but you don't need to when you do this. Okay.
So same thing here. You can do it dry as well, depending on your flower, depending on the paper.
So then what did you, now you adhered it to the base of the card. Oh, I see you did a leaf too.
I did.
So you also worked with it on a...
The same way as I did a little bit underneath the leaf, a little bit on the tips of the leaf, and it just kind of pops it. Yeah. So it gives you that dimension. And as far as
a little bit of a base
putting them together, and we did it.
You stamped on this too. Sorry, I see you on that barn. You used the barn textured paper.
Yeah,
or patterned, I should say.
So the paper gives it some texture. Right. The stamp gives it some texture.
Looks 3D.
And the twine from May Arts gives it some texture. So it's all about kind of layering. Right. And for the twine, I just kind of gently wrap it around.
It looks so perfectly placed.
And then you just tie it in a knot, pull it out, and you can use some of the Tombow Xtreme
adhesives, right?
And
that's that L action.
You've got to do an L action. Okay. So you come down.
There you go.
L,
right.
And you can stick
zip, zip, because if you don't zip, zip, it zip gunks. So you need to zip, zip.
Yeah, and you know, it takes a couple of times to get the feel for that, but once you do,
it holds.
It is phenomenal. There's nothing coming off of that glue. You know, and we could do the same thing here. And then just kind of tack it in place.
Very nice.
And obviously here I've got extra flowers with it.
Right.
And then
you built it along and stuff.
Right, right.
And here you used some Clearsnap Spritz, I think, is what you
colored
it with.
Here I used Clearsnap Spritz, and I used this barn paper to cut out and just colored it with some Spritz. Pattern paper gives you the pattern and color of the paper, obviously.
Looks
but
good.
You could ink it, you could do whatever you want.
Right.
And just keep layering them.
Just keep layering them. Well, you know what, and that's the thing here. So if you keep adding layers, when you use a molding tool, you can make things look so 3D and dimensional.
Yes.
Very nice.